So this whole concept of the brain, the mind, not being able to interpret negativity is really, really fascinating and really, really important to understand, because when you understand it, it can give you compassion for why the world is so messed up, why we as human beings are so messed up, and also how to correct the way that you interact with the world. So I'm going to start with the bare basics here. When you say a sentence that has a negative word in it, your brain skips over the negative side of it and hears it in the opposite way, or it just removes that word out of existence. As an example, please don't do that. What the brain actually hears is please do that. Okay? It removes the negative aspect of it. You're better off to reframe it and say, could you please do this instead? As an example. It's the same with affirmations. When you do any form of affirmations that have any negative context to them, you're actually affirming the opposite positive, which could have the opposite intended effect that you were hoping. You could actually be reinforcing negative statements. As an example, I don't want to be afraid anymore. You are actually saying, I want to be afraid, is really what you're saying. So it's important to understand that, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger than that. And the reason is why, and this is scientific fact, okay? This is all proven stuff. Why is it that the brain / the mind, and when I say mind, I incorporate that's your whole entire consciousness, your whole body, your whole existence. Because it's not your brain that isn't interpreting it, it's your mind that is not interpreting it, your whole entire existence. Because the source of you, which is unconditional love, the oneness, there is no such thing as anything negative. It just doesn't actually exist in creation. There's no such thing. So every negative word, every negative statement, every negative belief system, every negative thought, anything at all that is not of love is manufactured, it's artificial, and you can't process. Now you've got to think about that for a second, because when you look at how traumatized human beings are, how much abuse we take on, and how impacted we are by the negative things that have happened to us. Because, listen, at the end of the day, you know how fucked up you are inside. Pardon the French. We all do. Everybody's got it going on. And anybody that says that they don't are just shut down and self-delusional, right? Every single person has been traumatized. You came in to this life from love, from a higher realm. And then you came into this world, this dimension of separation, a reality that's based on fear and ruled by all sorts of conditions and programs and isms that have all been manufactured through lower vibrational consciousness and from lower vibrational sources that rule this planet. that's traumatizing. That's like taking a little newborn baby to a rock concert. It would rupture its ears and create a mass amount of damage. That's exactly what happens when we embody. We come from this beautiful place of love, of oneness, and then we embody into craziness. And a lot of the craziness isn't always directed at us, but it's around. We get bombarded by that energy. And remember, everything in all of creation is energy. And science has already proven that. Everything's energy. It's just vibrating at a different rate, structured in a different way. And there's many multi-dimensional aspects and different frequencies of vibration that exist. So we all pick up on it. Everything's all one. There is no separation. But because the source of everything is unconditional love, that is the feeling or the experience of the oneness of the Creator, of your I Am presence, your God self, whatever you want to label it. It doesn't interpret the negative stuff. And that's the reason why it affects us and impacts us in such a huge way. Besides the fact that it's lower vibrational stuff, it doesn't exist in the higher realms. So that lower vibration is abrasive. It pulls you down. It causes illness. It causes disease. It causes pain. It causes suffering. And that's the reason why, as best as you possibly can, you want to eliminate negative words out of your vocabulary, certainly out of your thoughts. And even greater than that, the emotions, the negative emotions need to come out because it's artificial. It's not of you. It never was. And that's the reason why we don't need to judge ourselves. We don't need to criticize ourselves. Because we've all been hurt. We've all been damaged. We've all been conditioned. And most of humanity is shut down and has been shut down. And you look at society, you look at all the ways in which we pacify ourselves with all of our addictions and all the ways in which we avoid going within and facing ourselves and facing what's really inside of us. All the anxiety, all the depression. And then the solution in the medical industry is to repress the emotions with antidepressants and all of these different drugs that are doing the exact opposite of what needs to really happen. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that some people might not need it to help them out, but it's only for a period of time until they're able to cope with the feelings and they're given the framework and the right structure to be able to safely release the emotions that are inside of them, which is all the trauma that is inside of them. That's all it is. It's very, very simple. Some people are more traumatized. Some people are less traumatized. Some people are more shut down. Some people can't contain it. It doesn't really matter. The same dynamic applies 100% of the time, and it affects 100% of the people that embody on this planet. How quickly they move through it, whether or not they move through it, whether or not they understand what it is, whether or not they believe it or not, is irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. But that is the reason why the mind cannot interpret or does not know how to interpret negative words or negative statements or negative phrases. And again, that goes out into negative energies. Because if you think about emotions, emotions are energy in motion. So when you have a negative emotion, it's negative energy that's inside of you or coming up inside of you. And it has to have already been inside of you. Because what most people don't understand is that there's a difference between feeling and emotions. Emotions are deep. They are based on past experiences, and they are cellular. They're deeper in your psyche, and they were introduced to you based on negative experiences that you had, if they're negative emotions, right? Negative experiences that you had that you weren't able to or felt like you couldn't feel at the time. And because you didn't feel them at the time because it wasn't safe to do so, or you were shut down, or you were traumatized because you were emoting, stop that. Stop crying. Stop yelling. Blah, 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 blah. Behave. A child's natural response is to emote immediately. It's to feel whatever's going on in the moment. And most parents do such a good job of shutting all of that down. And certainly society does it. And it's not any parent's fault at the end of the day. But repressing and suppressing any aspect of the human experience, especially emotions, is damaging, especially when it's negative emotions, because then you're holding it onto it, right? You're repressing it. You're saying, no, I want to hold on to it and I want to keep it. And guess what happens? You guessed it. You keep it. Stays in your body. And that lower vibrational stuff prevents your cells from functioning properly, prevents your body from functioning properly, your organs. And then eventually, it causes disease, dis-ease, being ill at ease, which lower vibrational energies will do, which are all negative energies, which is negative emotions. So I'm sort of throwing out a lot of different concepts out there. So feeling is the mechanism by which you can release your emotions. Feelings are also in the moment. I don't feel good, or I feel happy right now. I'm feeling angry, okay? It's in the moment. It's not something that is necessarily deep, but it could trigger deep emotions when something happens and you feel upset, and then it gets out of hand. When it gets out of hand, it means it's accessing something deeper inside of you that's already there. Because the only one true emotion that's supposed to be inside of your body is unconditional love. Anything other than unconditional love is and was introduced into your ecosystem. And if it's negative in nature, so it's either unconditional love or something negative, then it's hurting and harming you and causing damage and affecting every single aspect of your life, and you don't even know it. And you might not even believe it, even in listening to this. So what's the number one goal? The number one goal is to summon as much love into you so that all the non-love can come out. So you can feel safe to release the non-love. So you can feel safe to release everything that's limiting you and holding you back from you feeling that love for yourself and for everything else in your reality, and from you living at your best possible life. Now, a lot of people will think that what I say is very airy-fairy, spiritual mumbo-jumbo, that it's not grounded and it's not possible even. There's people that have said that what you say is not even possible, doesn't exist. That's not our true nature. And to that I say, rubbish. Because there are plenty of great masters and saints that have not only walked on this planet and demonstrated it as such, but I myself have had that experience many times. And I have more and more and more peace than I've ever had before. And I am so less impacted by the world around me than I had ever been before. And certainly much more than a lot of people out there. And I'm not talking about the people that repress everything and pretend like they've arrived. I'm talking about doing the real work here. Because the people that do the real work, there's a period of time where it's like hell. Because as you're invoking all that love and all that healing and all that light and doing the work, right, that non-love has to come out of you. And those will come out in emotions, mostly. It will come out with the emotions. And that's why it's so sad, because when I look at the spiritual community out there, and so many people going through madness and craziness, and they just don't have the help that they need, and they're being told things that are so convoluted and the opposite of what is really needed to help them. And they all think that there's something wrong with them. They think that they're damaged. They think that they're broken. And there couldn't be any further from the truth. It's very beautiful what's happening to them, because all the non-love is trying to come out. What the tragedy is how they handle it and what they're told and how they're taught to handle it. That's the greatest tragedy. So, that's all I have to say about that topic. My videos are so off the cuff. Like, I usually just feel out a topic and I just start talking, and I don't know how it's going to come out. I don't know if sometimes it's clear or not clear. Sometimes I have so many things going on inside of me that I can't even keep up with what's coming out. And so, it's pretty funny. But I don't know how to script things, and I don't really want to script things, because sometimes it's, where I'm coming from is coming from a different place. It's coming from a higher aspect of myself. But that's the reason why I teach what I teach, right? That's the reason why I share what I share, because I trained. I've been in training for over 30 plus years of my life in all different modalities, traveling all over the world and spending time with legit spiritual masters, with shaman and healers of all sorts, I've worked with the best hypnotists and hypnotherapists and counselors and kinesiologists and this and that. And I spend a lot of money on myself when it comes to that. That is self-care to me. So I know that people aren't sometimes in the same position as me financially to be able to spend so much on various healers and modalities and to travel around the world and to do the self-work to the degree that I was blessed. But then again, I lived in an ashram too. So my expenses were way less than most people. And I don't regret any of it because of what I have now. You know, what I have now, like what I have, OMG. You know, I still have my ups and downs, but the point is that I want to give you everything that I can possibly give you so that you can do what I did over 30 plus years and that I'm continuing to do, because how much of God or love is there to grow into? Well, technically it's infinite because there's an infinite number of experiences to be had on this planet, right? So it's never ending. You're always growing. You're always gathering data and experiences. And sometimes some of those experiences might trigger things that are still inside of you that need to be healed and worked out and let go of and released, right? But I'm giving you everything that I have. And I'm giving you the ultimate shortcut. I can show you the single fastest way to do it. But it's like ripping a Band-Aid off though, right? But you know, when you rip the Band-Aid off, you have that, and then it's gone forever, right? Rather than, for years, lifetimes even. See what I'm saying? It's your choice. But regardless, you have to go through all of it. There is no shortcut. And that does not contradict what I said. There's no shortcut. And most people spend most of their time avoiding and hiding. But it's getting more and more difficult to do so. Because what's going on in the outer world is only going to continue to impact the majority of the planet in a negative way. In order to facilitate the very thing that I'm telling you that you can circumvent, and that I will teach you how to rip the Band-Aid off. But you have to do the work. You have to be willing. You have to want it. But the irony is, at some point, you will want it. Because there's no greater work than working on yourself. There's no greater accomplishment or achievement. There is no greater service that you can do for anyone, to anyone, than to liberate yourself and break yourself out of the matrix. Quite literally. And I'm blessed and I'm grateful to be one that can help facilitate that and to help teach you the tools so that you can take it and do it yourself and work on yourself so that you can realize your full potential and make all of your dreams come true, because this planet is truly paradise. You know, when people talk about heaven on earth, earth is heaven. We were gifted free will to come here to this paradise and to have whatever experience that you want. Okay, you know, you think that you didn't choose your unique situation and circumstances, but that's not actually true. You just don't remember making the choices for what life lessons and what it is that you want to gain out of this embodiment and this experience, this avatar that you are at this particular time when humanity is going through the single greatest transformation that it has ever gone through. Quite literally, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years of evolution condensed down into a couple of decades. That's crazy to think about. And that's the reason why the world looks the way it does. That's why there is such craziness out in the world and inside of people. And at the same time, a lot of people are doing well. A lot of people are coping, you know, got their facade going on and they're living their lives the way that they are. But I'm talking to a specific group of people that are awakening. I'm talking about the people that are the future, the way showers, the people that are not able to contain what's going on inside of them any longer because the jig is up and you're being asked to step forward in your full power to reclaim not only who you truly are and who you were born to be, but to reclaim this planet as love. It's our job. It's your job. It doesn't have to look fancy or whatever else, because the greatest work is the work that you do on the inside. That's the greatest philanthropical work that anybody could ever do, because it impacts the entire planet and raises the vibration of the entire planet. No amount of money can raise someone's vibration. No amount of money can raise another human being's vibration. They have to do the self-work. Each individual has to. No greater work. That is the journey. That is the reason why we embody in the first place. It's our mission when we embody. You know, when you play a computer game, there's purpose, right? There's an end goal. To win. Well, winning is breaking free of the matrix. Winning is becoming all that you truly are and all that you were born to be. And to no longer live in fear. To realize your highest possible potential in this lifetime. That's winning. and has nothing to do with the material realm, with the physical realm. It might be reflected in the physical realm with success and with all of those things that may or may not be given to you. Because ironically, when you get to that consciousness, when you get to that level of consciousness, like the great masters and the great saints that have walked on this planet, you don't care about any of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't impress you. And you don't actually need it because you don't have the ego. You're not doing things for vanity. You're not doing things to impress people. You're not doing things out of lack within yourself. You don't have anything to prove to anyone. You're doing it because it's just who you truly are. And maybe it's to just be a humble little person that's cleaning toilets. I always use that example because it's a good visual, right? So people judge people for what they look like, are they classy, or what status do they have? And they'll look down upon these people. It's sickening. The discrimination, the separation, the way that people judge others without even knowing anything about them, or just because of the circumstance or situation that other individual grew up in. How dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, how dare anyone do that? How dare them? That's mental illness. That's not unconditional love. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Click like, share, and thank you. And join me for one of my free live reclaiming sessions, or if you want one-on-one coaching, I'd be more than happy to help you out. I also have group coaching programs and courses and all sorts of hoo-ha out there. But if you don't want any of it, doesn't matter. Just choose love.